Ford has just done the unthinkable, and the entire car market is in absolute shock. In a move no one saw coming, Ford dropped a game-changing announcement that's now sending shockwaves through every corner of the auto industry. From Wall Street to Main Street, from dealership floors to global supply chains. This isn't just news. It's a full-blown market disruption, and everyone is scrambling to react. So what exactly did Ford announce? Buckle up. Ford is slashing prices across its most popular models. Yes, including the F-150, Mustang Mach-E, and even their top-tier hybrid and electric vehicles. We're talking price drops as steep as $8,000 to $12,000 in some trims, effective immediately. This isn't a limited-time incentive or a seasonal clearance sale. Ford is repositioning its entire pricing structure. Why? Because they're declaring war on rising inventory, slowing demand, and perhaps most importantly, Tesla and the incoming flood of affordable EVs from China. But it doesn't stop at prices. Ford also unveiled a radical overhaul of its EV strategy. They're pivoting hard. The company confirmed it's pausing development on some next-gen EV platforms and instead focusing on hybrids. Big time. Ford CEO Jim Farley said point-blank, consumers want choice. They want performance. They want affordability. That's where we're going. And that sent a thunderclap through the industry. While GM and others push all in on electric, Ford is saying, wait a minute, the market isn't ready for full EV takeover. Not yet. Dealers are already reporting a surge in calls. Customers who were holding off, waiting for clarity, or hoping for a deal are now rushing in. The F-150 Lightning just became dramatically more accessible. The Mustang Mach-E is now competing head-to-head with cheaper Teslas and even some Chinese imports. This isn't just a price drop, it's a power move. Ford is repositioning itself as the people's carmaker, taking back control of the narrative and reshaping its entire product lineup around what customers actually want today. And Wall Street, mixed reactions, but massive trading volume. Ford stock popped on the announcement, but analysts are split. Some call it desperate, others are calling it brilliant. Because here's the thing, Ford isn't trying to win on margins right now. They're playing the long game. They want volume, they want brand loyalty, and they want to flood the roads with their nameplates before anyone else can. Meanwhile, competitors are panicking. GM is now under immense pressure to respond. Toyota, who's been cautious with EVs, might feel validated, but still has to compete with Ford's aggressive new hybrid strategy. And Tesla? Elon's silence has been deafening. But the implications are clear. If Ford is slashing EV prices and pulling back on full electrification, then the mass market EV race just got a lot more complex and a lot more cutthroat. What's especially bold is how Ford is restructuring its manufacturing to make this shift possible. They've already announced retooling efforts at several North American plants, halting production of some lower-performing EVs, and speeding up hybrid development timelines by nearly 2 years. Yes, 2 years faster. And in an industry where timelines are everything, that's a thunderbolt move. They're doing it by reallocating billions from battery R&D toward flexible drivetrain platforms. Platforms that can support both ICE and hybrid models, giving them real-time adaptability as the market evolves. But here's the twist. Ford didn't just make this announcement for investors or car enthusiasts. They aimed this directly at everyday Americans. Their messaging? Clear and aggressive. We hear you. We've heard enough. And we're changing now. In an era where automakers are criticized for being out of touch, Ford is trying to flip the script. And whether it works or backfires remains to be seen. But one thing is clear. They just forced the entire car market to take a hard look at itself. And we haven't even touched on the financing changes. Ford Credit is rolling out unheard of incentives. We're talking 0% APR on select models, deferred payment options, loyalty rebates, and even EV loyalty bonuses that knock thousands off the sticker price if you're switching from competitors' EV. This is not business as usual. This is Ford throwing the playbook out the window. And there's more. The company is hinting at an upcoming announcement that could take this even further. They're teasing what insiders are calling the Freedom Drive Initiative, a nationwide rollout of subscription-based vehicle ownership with flexible plans, unlimited mileage, and even vehicle swapping for hybrid and EV models. Imagine driving a Mustang Mach-E during the week, then swapping into an F-150 Power Boost hybrid for the weekend, all under one monthly payment. This is Ford taking a sledgehammer to the old model of ownership and instead offering mobility as a service, not just a product. It's bold, it's risky, but it's the kind of thinking that disrupts industries. And get this, Ford is also setting up direct-to-consumer hubs in key urban and rural markets. These aren't traditional dealerships. They're modernized, tech-focused experience centers where customers can test drive, configure, and even purchase vehicles without a single salesperson breathing down their neck. Think Apple Store, but for trucks and SUVs. It's a direct response to the frustration many buyers feel toward traditional dealer markups, inventory shortages, and hidden fees. Ford is saying, let's cut the middleman. Let's win back trust. That's not just innovation, it's revolution. Now, behind closed doors, sources say this entire strategy has been brewing for months, quietly, carefully, and with one goal in mind: take back control of the American car narrative. Ford wants to be more than just a legacy automaker. They want to be the bridge between what drivers want now and what the future demands. And that means embracing flexibility, affordability, and speed. No more waiting 5 years for a model update. No more over-promising and under-delivering on EVs. Just cars and trucks that work, priced right, with tech that doesn't require a PhD to operate. And speaking of tech, the software overhaul coming in the next 90 days is going to be massive. Ford's new in-car operating system, internally nicknamed Forge OS, will debut in updated models before the end of the year. It's fully integrated with Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, but also includes proprietary apps like Ford FlexNav, SmartTow AI, and energy optimization software for hybrids. Think of it as the brain of every Ford going forward: adaptive, connected, and constantly updating over the air. This is Ford stepping into the software game, not just to play catch-up, but to lead. At the same time, Ford is doubling down on its commitment to American manufacturing. They're investing over $3 billion into revamping plants in Michigan, Ohio, and Kentucky to prioritize hybrid drivetrain production. That means thousands of new jobs, local sourcing of parts, and faster time to market. And in a political climate where Made in America is more important than ever, Ford is positioning itself as the last great American auto giant that never left home. But even as Ford moves full speed ahead, the risks are very real. Supply chain constraints, raw material price volatility, union pressures, and the unpredictable consumer market all stand in the way. Still, Farley and his executive team seem unfazed. They're betting big, and they're betting fast. Because in their eyes, the winners in this market won't be the most luxurious or even the most electric. They'll be the most agile, the most accessible, and the most trusted. And let's not forget, the customer wins most in this battle. Affordable hybrids that don't sacrifice performance. EVs that are finally priced within reach. Flexible payment plans. Transparent pricing. Real tech, not gimmicks. Ford's gamble might just spark a pricing war across the board. And if that happens, every car buyer in America will feel the impact. And we're only scratching the surface of what's coming next. Because behind the scenes, Ford is reportedly in talks with several major tech companies to integrate AI-powered vehicle diagnostics and predictive maintenance into their next-gen models. That means your Ford won't just alert you when something's wrong. It'll predict failures before they happen, book you a service appointment, and even offer software fixes remotely. This isn't science fiction. It's already being piloted in a select batch of fleet vehicles, and early adopters are calling it a game changer. Imagine never being stranded on the side of the road again because your truck already knew the fuel pump was weakening and rerouted you to a service center before it failed. That's the level of intelligence Ford wants to bring into every garage across America. Now combine that with what's coming for fleet buyers, especially small businesses. Ford Pro, their commercial division, is launching what they're calling the Fleet Freedom Package. It bundles hybrid and electric vans and trucks with full fleet telematics, custom software dashboards, automatic maintenance scheduling, and even energy use optimization tools for EVs that let companies cut costs down to the penny. This is Ford looking beyond the showroom floor, targeting plumbers, electricians, delivery services, and municipalities with plug-and-play solutions that save time, money, and headaches. And don't think for a second this is all domestic. Ford's international operations are echoing this aggressive shift too. In Europe, they're streamlining their bloated EV pipeline, pulling back from unrealistic emission targets, and instead refocusing on profitable, scalable hybrid solutions that cater to actual driving behavior, not just policy mandates. In Latin America and Southeast Asia, they're leveraging new low-cost production strategies to expand access to durable, efficient vehicles priced for developing markets, but with the same tech backbone powering their U.S. lineups. This is a global pivot with surgical precision. But perhaps the most shocking part of this entire announcement is how fast it's happening. Ford isn't talking about 2030 or 2028. They're rolling out these changes now. Production shifts are happening this quarter. Pricing cuts are active today. Dealer networks are being restructured as we speak. Over-the-air software updates are scheduled to begin hitting current vehicles within weeks. This isn't a 5-year plan, it's a 5-month blitz. And the ripple effect is already starting. Just days after Ford's announcement, reports began surfacing of rival automakers holding emergency strategy meetings. Kia and Hyundai are said to be reevaluating their hybrid timelines. Volkswagen is under pressure to justify its EV-only future. Even legacy luxury brands like BMW and Mercedes-Benz are watching Ford closely, nervous about what this means for premium segments. Because when Ford, a titan with deep roots and massive volume, shifts course this drastically, the entire global supply chain gets rocked. Dealers are feeling the tremor too. While some are praising the move as long overdue, others are scrambling to adjust to the new price landscape. Inventory revaluation, floor plan financing, adjusted allocations, it's chaos behind scenes. But Ford's message is clear: adapt fast or get left behind. This isn't about protecting status quo players. It's about shaking the tree and seeing who's still standing when the dust settles. And speaking of standing tall, truck buyers, the lifeblood of Ford's brand, are finally being rewarded for their loyalty. The newly repriced F-150 hybrids are now within striking distance of gas-only rivals, giving buyers the power and efficiency they've wanted without the premium price tag. And with new towing tech, smarter trailering features, and even a remote overlanding assistance system for off-roaders, Ford is turning its trucks into smart machines. Not just workhorses, but command centers on wheels. But we're still not done. There's one more layer to this story that hasn't hit the mainstream yet. Insiders are now whispering about what could be the most disruptive move yet: Ford's rumored entry into battery leasing and modular EV upgrades. If the leaks are true, Ford is preparing to launch a system where buyers of select electric vehicles won't have to pay the full cost of the battery up front. Instead, they'll lease the battery at a fixed monthly rate, drastically lowering the purchase price of the vehicle and making EV ownership accessible to millions more Americans overnight. And here's the kicker: when better batteries come out, longer range, faster charging, you can swap yours out, just like upgrading your phone. This isn't just a technical evolution, it's a philosophical one. Ford is rewriting the ownership model from the ground up. Forget obsolescence. Forget waiting 7 years for a new model. If this program rolls out, you'll be able to keep your vehicle current year after year without ever trading it in. It's sustainability, affordability, and flexibility wrapped into one radical new package. And it has legacy automakers trembling because they simply don't have the vertical integration or scale to compete on that front. Meanwhile, in Washington, D.C., this announcement has lawmakers and lobbyists on high alert. Ford's new strategy plays directly into the Biden administration's energy goals, but not the way regulators expected. Instead of forcing a full EV transition, Ford is proving that hybrids and plug-in hybrids can deliver real emissions reductions without forcing consumers into limited infrastructure. Already, there's talk of potential new tax incentives being introduced specifically for these mid-step technologies. And if that happens, it could turbocharge Ford's already aggressive hybrid push. And let's not forget Ford's relationship with unions. This shift comes on the heels of tense contract renegotiations with the UAW. And yet, Ford is one of the few automakers still committed to keeping most of its manufacturing jobs in the U.S. Unlike others who are outsourcing battery production to China or Southeast Asia, Ford is doubling down on domestic battery plants, including the recently expanded Blue Oval Battery Park in Kentucky. These plants are now being refitted to not just manufacture batteries, but to recycle and refurbish them too. That's another step toward Ford's goal of creating a closed-loop battery ecosystem, cutting waste, reducing costs, and securing long-term supply stability. What we're witnessing isn't just an announcement, it's a transformation. Ford is seizing the moment, challenging old assumptions, and positioning itself as the company that listens, adapts, and acts fast. This is a survival play, a growth strategy, and a cultural statement all at once. And the momentum is only building. Because the next big reveal? It's coming at Ford's highly anticipated Future Forward Live event just weeks away. And for what's already leaked, it could send even bigger shockwaves through the global automotive landscape. Future Forward Live is shaping up to be more than just a product showcase. It's being described internally as a redefinition of what Ford stands for. Executives are staying tight-lipped, but sources familiar with the event say it'll unveil a new design language, a next-gen vehicle architecture, and, perhaps most explosively, a brand new model set to compete directly with both the Tesla Model Y and Toyota's best-selling RAV4, but at a price point no one thought possible, under $30,000 fully loaded. And it won't be a watered-down EV either. We're talking dual-motor, all-wheel drive, real-world range exceeding 320 miles, ultra-fast charging capabilities, and a brand-new chassis tune for U.S. roads. Internally codenamed Project Velocity, this crossover is built to shatter expectations and bury the myth that affordable EVs can't be desirable, durable, and fun to drive. If Ford pulls this off, and early prototypes suggest they just might, they won't just rattle the EV space, they'll redefine it. Even more surprising, rumors suggest Ford will also debut its own national charging network partnership. While other automakers are jumping aboard Tesla's NACS standard, Ford is reportedly brokering a deal with major utility companies and infrastructure startups to build out community-based, solar-powered charging hubs in underserved rural and suburban areas. These won't just charge your car, they'll offer battery swap stations, 24/7 vehicle diagnostics, and even microgrid power for homes and small businesses. It's about creating an ecosystem, not just a car. And just when you think Ford is done, there's word of a partnership with Amazon and Google to fully integrate smart home and smart assistant features into future vehicles. We're talking seamless voice-activated climate control, real-time traffic prediction using Google AI, and full Alexa-enabled vehicle-to-home connectivity. You'll be able to walk out of your house, say start the truck, preheat the cabin, open the garage, and your Ford will be waiting, lights on, climate set, ready to roll. This isn't some concept car fantasy. It's scheduled for rollout starting next spring. But what's truly wild is how Ford's identity is shifting in real time. This is no longer just the blue-collar truck company of yesteryear. It's evolving into a tech-forward mobility giant that still honors its legacy while forging a bold new path. They're not abandoning combustion engines. They're making them smarter. They're not rejecting EVs. They're making them more human. And they're not building cars in a vacuum. They're building platforms that interact with your life, your business, and your community in ways no automaker ever has. And while Wall Street analysts continue to debate the risks, customers are speaking with their wallets. Pre-orders for newly priced hybrids have doubled in just a few weeks. Interest in Ford Pro solutions for fleets is up 38%. And social media is exploding with buzz, some praising Ford for finally getting it, others questioning how the rest of the industry will keep up. Because the truth is, this isn't just a Ford moment, it's a market shift. One company finally stood up, looked at the chaos around them, rising prices, shrinking trust, broken EV promises, and said, enough. Let's fix it. Let's lead. And now, every automaker is forced to respond. The question isn't whether Ford blew up the market. The question is, can anyone else survive the blast? Because the fallout from Ford's shockwave is already shaking up boardrooms from Tokyo to Stuttgart. Toyota, long the king of hybrids, now finds itself suddenly outflanked in its own stronghold. Their slow, conservative rollout of next-gen hybrids now feels outdated compared to Ford's bold pivot. Executives inside Honda and Nissan are reportedly accelerating emergency revisions to their 2026 plans, hoping to inject life into sluggish EV roadmaps and get ahead of Ford's momentum before it's too late. And let's talk about Tesla. Elon Musk may not have responded publicly yet, but Tesla forums and investors are buzzing with concern. If Ford's $30,000 crossover becomes a reality and arrives before Tesla's long-teased Model 2, it could flip the EV market on its head. Tesla's biggest strength has always been its dominance in software and infrastructure. But with Ford now building partnerships, rolling out updates faster than ever, and investing in nationwide support systems, that moat is looking narrower by the day. Meanwhile, the used car market is also bracing for impact. With new Ford models becoming more affordable and packed with future-proof tech, used vehicle pricing may finally begin its long-awaited descent. Buyers who were previously priced out of the market now have real options, and dealers who overstocked expensive used inventory are sweating bullets. The days of 5-year-old trucks selling above MSRP numbered, and there's more. Ford is quietly expanding into mobility services in ways that go beyond just personal vehicles. Insiders reveal the company is developing a subscription-based delivery fleet model targeted at e-commerce startups and and local businesses. Imagine a fleet of hybrid or electric transit vans, fully managed by Ford, complete with maintenance, charging, and logistics support, all bundled into one flat monthly fee. It's like AWS, but for delivery vehicles. Scalable, flexible, and just in time for the next phase of last-mile logistics. What we're watching unfold isn't just a product update or a pricing strategy. It's an ideological shift. Ford isn't playing the EV game by the same rules as everyone else. They're rewriting the rulebook, reshaping how vehicles are built, bought, owned, and lived with. And they're not doing it from Silicon Valley towers. They're doing it from factories, from test tracks, from conversations with real drivers and hard data pulled from millions of vehicles already on the road. And maybe that's why this announcement hit so hard. Because while some automakers are still trying to force a future onto consumers, Ford is building a future with them. One that respects the needs of a working family, a growing business, a first-time buyer, or a fleet operator. A future where vehicles don't demand compromise, but offer choice, reliability, and power on your terms. And as Ford sharpens its edge and charges full speed ahead into this next chapter, the question hanging over the rest of the industry isn't whether they can catch up, it's whether they even know what game they're playing anymore.